And what was with the diabolical laugh that I had
That
there?
was diabolical.
Oh,
that was dastardly, Jeff. Dastardly.
I don't even recall doing it. I just heard that. I go, what? That was like a verbal middle finger to the Patriots or something. I don't know what that was.
And there's nothing wrong with that, by the
no.
way. And since we're reliving 85, they may as well go down to Dallas and win 44-0.
Well, yeah.
Right?
I was just talking about that with Tom, the 44-0. That's the game that I just that one sticks out so much because it's Landry's Cowboys, and the Bears hadn't beaten them in a while, and they just destroyed them. That may have been the reason.
Well, Jeff, that laugh reflects surprise, and I think that nobody saw Monday night coming. Or did you? Did you expect them to play at a level that was as high as it was? I mean, how could you have predicted it? And what, when you reflect back now, how surprising and shocking was it?
I guess the surprise lies in the numbers of how hard it's been to beat the Patriots in that building, especially the young quarterback. So, you go on history a little bit, and, it was going to be a challenge, and it was a challenge. They had to come back from behind ultimately and win that game. But what they did overall, the game plan was so well done, and the defense continues to be stubborn as hell in the second half, and the special teams unit is collectively feeling it's a bunch of young guys just playing with their hair on fire. I mean, that was fun to watch. And I'm not, again, it's a long season, and I haven't broached this topic at all in my conversations with Tom, but, that whole rookie wall thing will be starting to rear its head soon. And this team has so many rookies on it, you wonder how they'll handle it moving forward. But it goes back to earlier in the season. Yes, the Bears have not still, they got a long way to go offensively, right? But they're doing things that they feel are going to, reveal success in the long term. But it goes back to this team. They always believed in itself. So I think that you gotta trust that a little bit and see where it goes.
Jeff, Micah Parsons said this week that he knew he was faster than Justin Fields, which was amusing. But I went and looked it up, and Justin Fields did not run at the Combine, and he ran a 4.49 at his pro day, and Micah Parsons ran a 4.49 at the Combine and ran a 4.41. They both ran a 4.39 at his pro day. So he does have a faster 40. I don't know if that's going to help him in the open field. We know the incredible play he made last week. He just was shot out of a cannon. The guy's an unbelievable athlete. You got to be aware of him. But I felt, if he's got a shoulder issue, if he's popped up as limited, that doesn't mean he's not going to play, but maybe it underscores you got to run at him.
Oh, gosh. Mercilessly. Just keep on doing it. I mean, hey, sometimes I live in a world, what would Tom do? And so run at him. He gets all serious about certain topics, and you could see it on his face. His eyes grow wide, and he gets that lather up. Just run at him relentlessly. And by the way, Justin ran his 40, and he stumbled out of the gate, so it would have been faster. That's the word anyway from people who were there. So, hey, listen, Micah Parsons is special. You keep thinking about guys like who can move all over the place and, are pretty much unstoppable. I'm not saying he's LT yet, but that has popped up. You got to know where he is, and you got to stop him. So run at him, and that's what they do best. Get a body on him, hat on a hat, and let's go.
Jeff, do you find the ironic that the best way to protect Justin Fields is likely or could be argued in running him more, in more designed quarterback runs, as we've been talking about all week, this sort of leaning into this and copying the Ravens, and however many plays we can debate, and Luke Getsy can be defensive, whatever. They did have a lot of quarterback designed runs, and that seems, even though it's risky, a little safer than letting him sit in the pocket and watch it collapse as the pass rushers close in. Isn't that their irony there? And don't the Bears have to continue down that path?
I would think so. But again, on the Bears coaches show Monday night, Matt Eberflus said, hey, it doesn't mean we're going to do it all the time. He kind of took it back a little bit. I just don't want to see him getting too many hits, period. However it handles it, but it was effective, and it keeps the defense on its heels. I kept saying it all night. The Patriots didn't know what was coming next. And this Cowboys defense is very, very good in many different ways. They are number one in significant categories, and most importantly, the pass rush. So, now they're waiting for it. So what will they do? What's the counterpunch to Justin doing that? Now, watching the game last night while I was working, so it was one eye on it, I just kept hearing Al Michaels and Herbstreit say how plum-tuckered out Tampa's defense was because of Lamar in the first half, running crazy, and then they went to the power game and finished the job. So, the Bears are more than capable of doing something like that. So they're the number one rushing team in the NFL, and I just love the designs of some of the stuff. And you saw, listen, how many times Mike did, when we covered Ditka, always heard about the counter tray of the Washington Redskins and other teams, and they ran counter tray in that game. It was old school stuff. The blasting game coming off, and basically wham blocking to his heart's content. I love that guy. I want him in the game even more. Having two backs. So keep Dallas' defense on its heels because they have 29 sacks and they lead the league in knocking down the quarterback. So they draw a lot of false starts. They draw holding penalties. That's a bunch that is going to be quite challenging to deal with.
And Justin's been sacked 27 times. Yeah. So, I mean, that's,
right.
It's obviously a weakness on strength kind of thing, and you want to avoid that. I guess when I look at the Bears, an incredible win in all facets of the game, really fun to see on Monday night. Then obviously you have the Robert Quinn trade, which I don't think anyone questions the idea behind that, but you do wonder how the players consume that and if that impacts them in any way. And I'm sure the coaches will do everything to prevent that, but as you know, very popular figure.
Yes, he was quiet as can be. Doesn't say much. I particularly enjoyed Robert, but they got to learn the business eventually, and it's always around the corner, the business of football. Yeah. And I know there's a bunch of young guys on this team that maybe were wide-eyed about it, but hey, it's the way it's going to be. It's going to be this way moving forward because they are building something here, and so there's going to be a lot of transactions. And they're going to build through the draft and try to grow their own, but that's going to mean you're going to have to wave goodbye to some people along the way. And I think if they take a step back, they realize, okay, guys like, in that room, okay, this is more opportunity for me. I mean, okay, they must believe in me. And these guys said it. Dominique Robinson, who's making plays, he's going to get more reps. Travis Gibson believes in himself. He thinks he can be a good player in this league for a long time. So, Al-Quadin Muhammad, he's the vet now in terms of the edge rushers and so forth. So I think you got to look at it as an opportunity and build from there.
Okay, but as somebody in that building who knows this team pretty well, you saw Roquan Smith, and I don't know if he interpreted it that way. And I wonder how you interpreted the way that he responded in real time with that emotion, and what did that say about his mindset, or what was he thinking as he felt that emotion and expressed it publicly?
Listen, none of these guys, the Khalil Mack trade, and that had reaction into it. Eddie Jackson was very close to him. The Akeem Hicks, you're talking about big name guys. Quinn's a big name guy, but again, I'm sure the immediacy of it and the reality of it was led to the emotion of it, but it's got, these guys are in the end, they're all businessmen. They are, and they'll handle their business. I don't think this is going to have a big impact overall, and maybe they'll be better because of it. He did draw double teams, but he did only have the one sack. It wasn't a huge productive year at this point. He was doing other things to help other players, and you can't discount that. But again, when you look at the bigger picture, was he going to be here when the Bears are ready to compete for something? And the answer would be no.
Were you surprised at the way that Luke Getsy sort of handled the question about who's starting at right tackle? Do you think there's still a possibility that there's Larry Borum is cleared from concussion protocol, and if not, it's got to be Riley Reif, right? I'd be stunned if they started Alex Leatherwood. I don't know how that question even got to him.
Well, listen, the one thing with this regime and injuries, I know I have no information because I don't get any information about that stuff. So I would guess also it would be somebody like Riley Reif. But again, they were rotating Lucas Patrick in there with Tevin Jenkins. So you never know if they're going to try to get his feet wet a little bit somewhere as he gets a better understanding of what the Bears want to do and see what he's got. But, yeah, I really don't know. It would make sense that it would be Riley Reif, but I mean, until you know more about how severe the situation is with Larry Borum, and I have no knowledge of that, I'm gonna probably go with the veteran as well in this one.
All right, Jeff. So the secondary really played a strong game. You had the takeaways from the rookies, and you saw that athleticism on display. Eddie Jackson, is showing a lot better awareness. He's having a good season. Jalen Johnson. He traveled with Devontae Parker, followed him around at times, and certainly had that one play. Just was a great throw and a great catch. Those things will happen. What do you expect Sunday with CeeDee Lamb? Do you think that Jalen Johnson will shadow him all over the field? Do you think that they will stay in place? What do you expect from the Bears secondary Sunday?
That's a great question because he plays a lot in the slot, so that would be Gordon. I don't know. I mean, CeeDee Lamb is a very crafty route runner and a ton of confidence and a challenge, certainly, with Dak and his relationship with him. But, there's other parts of this, too, that you got to consider because Noah Brown has had a terrific start to the season, was very good against Detroit. And he's a player that people really don't know much about, but he lost 35 pounds, and now it's changed his whole career. He's a fearless player, tough over the middle. So, and Michael Gallup has been super quiet for whatever reason. Only 8 catches this season, but he's a talented receiver. When the Bears last played them, he was a primary receiver. He's had a 1,000-yard season. So, I don't know. I don't know what they'll do. I don't know what I do either on that one. So that's something I really don't know what to say about that one. CeeDee Lamb commands a lot of respect and a lot of cushion. He makes circus catches. And he's their number one target right now. He's been targeted 66 times. So, do you want to put your very best guy in there? Or do you want to put a mixture of things with Gordon, and maybe they'll do that?
Ezekiel Elliott is going to miss the game with a grade 2 MCL sprain in his right knee, and apparently with the bye week, they feel it's wiser to give him a couple of games off. And I understand that Pollard has done fairly well when called upon, but it's also they don't really ask Tony Pollard to carry the ball 30 times, right? I mean, you hope they don't get that many plays, but what changes in their running game, and how do the Bears do against it if indeed there's no Zeke?
Well, Zeke was a first and second down back, so Pollard is not to be slept on. He is a very good football player, and he had more yards after contact than Ezekiel Elliott so far this season. He's had more 10-plus yard runs, so he's a danger guy. He's had a bunch of first downs running the football, but the thing is he's an outstanding receiver, and so there's more yards after the catch there you have to consider. He's a threat, but as a duo, they're much better. And, the only 2 backfields in the league that have 400 yards or more yards from scrimmage in 2 cases are the Cowboys and the Bears. And I love that, that to me it's more to worry about if you have 2. So I would think this is an advantage Bears in this one. I don't know where they'll turn to. Will they put the ball up 50 times now with Dak having the rust off instead of running the football? And so that'll be the chess match part of this. But I do think Tony Pollard is somebody that's outstanding and a guy that is a catch-and-run option at all times.
Jeff, AT&T Stadium is one of the more spectacular venues in all of sports. Jerry World, they call it. You go there, you can't help but be distracted by the giant video board. I wonder, how do you watch the game? How do you keep yourself from being distracted? Because you have to be on top of everything so you can end the broadcast with that dastardly laugh.
Is that? Do I have to incorporate this now?
Yes.
Is this a new thing?
Like kind of like
The laugh?
Hester,
I
you are
never laugh
ridiculous.
like that.
The laugh, yeah.
Yeah, I never laugh like it was so dismissive and a little bit of the diabolical part. I don't know what I was thinking. However, I don't like the stadium. It's way too big.
Right.
It's and where we sit, you almost have to look at the scoreboard because they look like little dots on the field. So that scoreboard is so massive, and I don't know where the press box is in relation. The booths are sometimes removed from the press boxes nowadays, but that thing is it is in your face. There is no way around it. And I remember the last trip, it was Bears fans going crazy. So I think they'll travel well. I believe that they'll eat up a bunch of those tickets. And, it was weird the last time I was there. It was very much leaning towards Bears fandom more than Cowboys. And it is a spectacular facility. You can get lost in there very easily. I remember the last time I was there because, I had to go down there and do the TV show, and I got lost on the way back, and I was very concerned about how I was going to get to the booth on time, which I have nightmares about. Every now and again that I hear somebody else in the speaker, and you're running in slow motion. No, I can't let that happen.
What would Tom do?
What would Tom do? I remember taking the freight elevator upstairs. That's what happened in that one. So, in many of these stadiums. Many, not all. Hey, pardon me, ma'am or Mister. Can you tell me where the broadcast booths are?
Yeah.
The broadcast booths? Hey, Joe, Sam, where are the broadcast? They've been working there, but they don't really know where everything is. So, you get lost sometimes.
Do you believe that this is an advantage to the Bears that they're playing a team before their bye week? I know that sounds crazy, but there is this sort of getaway day mentality that can creep in if teams aren't careful.
Well, if you don't have a disciplined team and you don't have a dialed-in team, I'd say yeah, but I'm assuming the Cowboys are. They got their quarterback back. They're feeling good. They're considered a Super Bowl contender. I've heard people say, hey, if they don't, take what they have here and make it to the NFC Championship game and compete for a Super Bowl, it's been a complete loss. So I'm thinking they're dialed in and ready to rock. They got, again, their defense is very, very good, and so. And Dak, once he gets going, this is a guy who's thrown for nearly 5,000 yards in a season. Their offensive line missing some pieces, but still very solid. They got plenty to worry about for sure. And, the one thing, just realizing just how much this team has been built through the draft. They've done a heck of a job, and that is maybe something that you guys may or may not have discussed over the course of the week. But this team has 39 guys are homegrown guys from the draft. That's significant, and it's exactly what Ryan Poles would like to have happen in Chicago. So they've got stars, they've got guys going back even further. For draft of 16 was Dak Prescott. So Ezekiel Elliott earlier. So they've retained some of their big names and reinvested and are growing through the draft. Really good picks.